Some people build walls around their hearts after loss. Marcus Hartwell built an empire instead. At 34, he had everything money could buy. A mansion overlooking the Pacific in Malibu. Cars that cost more than most houses. A tech company worth hundreds of millions. But he had nothing that mattered. His father was gone. His wife was gone. And somewhere in that empty house, his 4-year-old daughter, Emma, was growing up with a father who couldn't look her in the eyes without seeing ghosts. So Marcus did what he did best. He controlled what he could control. When the new nanny arrived, he made a decision. He would watch her, every move, every moment. He installed cameras in every room, hidden, professional, the kind used by people who trust no one. He told himself it was about safety, about protecting his daughter, about making sure this stranger wouldn't steal from him like the world had stolen everything else. But what Marcus saw on those cameras didn't confirm his suspicions. It shattered them. Because sometimes the people we fear the most are the ones sent to save us. And sometimes the truth we're running from is the only thing that can set us free. Marcus Hartwell hadn't slept properly in 2 years. Not since the accident. Not since the night a drunk driver ran a red light and took his wife Sarah from him in an instant. His father had died 6 months before that. Heart attack. Sudden. Final. So Marcus stopped feeling. He worked 18-hour days. He avoided Emma's bedroom. He hired staff to do what he couldn't, be present. But nannies never lasted. The first one quit after 3 weeks. Said the house felt cold. The second one lasted 2 months before she told him, politely, that Emma needed a father, not a paycheck. Marcus didn't argue. He just wrote her a check and called the agency again. "Mr. Hartwell, I'm sending someone different this time," the agency director said. "Her name is Rose Patterson. She's older, experienced, and she doesn't quit." "Fine, just send her." Rose arrived on a Tuesday morning. She was in her late 50s with silver hair pulled into a bun and the kind of face that had seen both joy and hardship. She wore simple clothes, a cardigan, jeans, worn but clean sneakers. Marcus met her at the door. He didn't smile. "You're Rose." "I am, and you must be Marcus." She extended her hand. Her grip was firm, warm. He pulled his hand back quickly. "Emma's upstairs. The kitchen staff will show you around. I'll be in my office. Don't disturb me unless it's urgent." Rose didn't flinch. "Understood." As she walked past him, Marcus noticed something. She moved through the house like she wasn't intimidated by it. Most people stared at the marble floors, the vaulted ceilings, the art on the walls. Rose just looked for Emma. That night, Marcus sat in his office staring at the monitors. 12 screens, 12 angles. Living room, kitchen, playroom, hallways. He told himself he was being cautious, responsible. But deep down, he knew the truth. He was hiding. On the screen, he watched Rose sit on the floor of the playroom with Emma. His daughter had barely spoken in weeks. She clutched a stuffed rabbit and stared at the wall most days. But Rose didn't push. She just sat beside her. Quiet. Patient. Then softly, Rose began to hum. It was an old tune. Something familiar. Marcus couldn't place it. Emma turned her head, just slightly. Rose smiled. "You like that song?" Emma nodded. "My mama used to sing it to me, a long time ago." "My mama's gone," Emma whispered. Rose's face softened. "I know, sweetheart, but she's still with you. Right here." She placed a gentle hand over Emma's heart. "She'll always be right here." Emma looked up at her, and for the first time in months, Marcus saw his daughter's eyes light up. He sat back in his chair, something twisting in his chest. Over the next few days, Marcus watched. He watched Rose make Emma breakfast, not the fancy meals the chef prepared, but simple things. Pancakes shaped like stars, scrambled eggs with cheese. He watched her read to Emma every night. Not expensive books, but old worn paperbacks she brought from home. He watched her teach Emma how to plant seeds in little pots on the windowsill. "You have to be patient," Rose said. "Good things take time." And he watched Emma smile again. But Marcus also watched for something else. A slip, a sign. Proof that Rose was like everyone else, just there for the money. He checked her bag when she left it in the hallway. Nothing missing. He watched her in the study, near his father's old desk. She dusted it carefully, reverently, and moved on. He waited for her to fail, but she didn't. One evening, Marcus was reviewing footage from earlier that day when something caught his attention. Rose was in the library, alone. She stood in front of a portrait on the wall, Marcus's father, Richard Hartwell. It was painted years ago, back when his father still smiled. Rose stared at it for a long time. Then she whispered something. Marcus leaned closer to the screen, turning up the volume. "I kept my promise, Richard. I'm taking care of him." Marcus froze. His heart slammed in his chest. She knew his father. He rewound the footage, played it again. "I kept my promise, Richard." Marcus's hands shook. Who was this woman? If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. Marcus didn't sleep that night. He sat in his office, replaying the footage over and over. "I kept my promise, Richard." His father's name, spoken with familiarity, with affection. But Marcus had never met Rose before. His father had never mentioned her. Had he? The next morning, Marcus came downstairs earlier than usual. Rose was in the kitchen, making Emma's breakfast. "Good morning, Mr. Hartwell," she said without turning around. "Morning." He poured himself coffee, watching her carefully. "Rose, can I ask you something?" "Of course. Have we met before?" She paused, just for a moment, then continued stirring the oatmeal. "No, sir, I don't believe we have." "Did you know my father?" Her hand stilled. She turned to face him, her expression unreadable. "Why do you ask?" "Just curious." Rose studied him for a long moment. Then she smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I knew of him. Everyone in this city knew Richard Hartwell. He was a good man." "He was." "Emma's breakfast is ready. I should take it to her." She walked past him, and Marcus felt the conversation close like a door, but he wasn't satisfied. That afternoon, while Rose took Emma to the park, Marcus went into his father's old office. He hadn't been in there since the funeral. It still smelled like his father's cologne, sandalwood and leather. He opened the desk drawers. Files, old contracts, photos. Then, in the bottom drawer, he found a wooden box. Inside were letters, dozens of them, all addressed to his father, all from the same person, Rose Patterson. Marcus's breath caught. He opened the first letter. The handwriting was careful, looping. "Dear Richard, I wanted to write and thank you again for everything you did for my family. Without your help, we would have lost our home. My husband was so sick, and the medical bills were crushing us. But you paid them, all of them. You didn't even know us, and you saved us. I will never forget your kindness. With gratitude, Rose." Marcus opened another. "Dear Richard, it's been 5 years since my husband passed. I think of your generosity often. You gave us time together that we wouldn't have had. I don't know how to repay that. But I want you to know, if you ever need anything, I will be there. Always." Rose. Marcus read letter after letter. Rose's husband had been dying. His father had paid for the treatment, paid off their mortgage, helped her get back on her feet. And she had written to him for years, thanking him, updating him on her life. The last letter was dated 3 months before his father's death. "Dear Richard, I heard about your health scare. I'm so sorry. Please know that you are in my prayers. You once told me that kindness isn't a debt, it's a circle. You said that if I ever had the chance to help someone the way you helped me, I should take it. I'm ready now. If your family ever needs anything at all, I will be there. You have my word. With love." Rose. Marcus sat back. The letters scattered across the desk. His father had saved her, and now she was here. Not for money, not for herself, for him. That evening, Marcus waited until Emma was asleep. Then he knocked on the door of the guest house where Rose stayed. She opened it, surprised. "Mr. Hartwell, is everything all right?" "I found the letters." Her face softened. "Oh, why didn't you tell me?" Rose stepped aside, letting him in. The guest house was small but tidy. There was a photo on the nightstand, a man in his 50s, smiling, her late husband. "Because I didn't want you to feel obligated," Rose said quietly. "Your father helped me when I had nothing. He did it because he was kind, not because he wanted something in return. So you came here to repay him? I came here because I made him a promise. She looked Marcus in the eyes. The last time I saw your father, he was worried about you. He said you were carrying too much, that you'd forgotten how to let people in. Marcus's throat tightened. He asked me to watch over you if anything happened to him. And when I heard you were looking for someone to help with Emma, I knew it was time. You've been here all along, Marcus whispered, helping me, and I've been spying on you. Rose smiled gently. I know. Marcus stared at her. You knew. I saw the cameras the first day. You're not as subtle as you think, Mr. Hartwell. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I'm sorry, he said, his voice breaking. I'm so sorry I didn't trust you. I didn't trust anyone. You've been hurt, Rose said simply. Hurt people build walls, but walls don't keep you safe, Marcus. They keep you alone. Tears blurred his vision. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be a father without her. You don't have to do it alone. Marcus broke. He hadn't cried since the funeral. But now, in this small guest house, in front of this woman who owed him nothing and gave him everything, he wept. Rose didn't say anything. She just put a hand on his shoulder and let him fall apart. 6 months later, the house felt different. It wasn't just a mansion anymore. It was a home. Emma laughed again. She ran through the halls. She planted flowers with Rose in the garden, and Marcus was there for all of it. He cut back his hours at work. He started coaching Emma's little soccer team. He learned how to braid her hair, badly, but she didn't care. And he kept Rose close. Not as an employee, as family. One Saturday morning, Marcus was making pancakes, his own attempt this time, when Rose walked into the kitchen. Well, look at you, she said with a grin. A few months ago, you didn't even know where the stove was. I'm learning, Marcus said, flipping a pancake. It landed perfectly. He pumped his fist. Emma giggled from the table. Daddy's getting good. Rose poured herself coffee and sat down. I have something to tell you. Marcus glanced over. What is it? I've been thinking. You and Emma are doing so well. You don't really need me anymore. Marcus's stomach dropped. What? No! Rose, Rose. She held up a hand. Let me finish. I'm not leaving. But I think it's time I stopped being the nanny and started being what I've really become. What's that? Grandma Rose. Emma's face lit up. Really? Rose smiled. If that's okay with your dad. Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. More than okay. Emma jumped out of her chair and threw her arms around Rose. I love you, Grandma Rose. I love you too, sweetheart. Marcus joined the hug, and for a moment, the three of them stood there in the kitchen, holding each other like they'd always been meant to. That afternoon, Marcus drove to the cemetery. He hadn't been there since the funeral. He stood in front of two graves, his father's and Sarah's. He knelt down, placing flowers on each one. I'm sorry it took me so long to come back, he said quietly. I was lost. I was angry. I didn't know how to keep going without you. The wind rustled through the trees. But someone you knew, Dad. She found me. Rose. She kept her promise to you. She saved me. His voice cracked. And Sarah? I know you'd love her. She's helping me be the father Emma deserves. The father I forgot how to be. He wiped his eyes. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not hiding. I'm living again. He stood looking at the headstones. Thank you, both of you, for loving me, for giving me a reason to keep going. As he walked back to his car, Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. That evening, Marcus, Emma, and Rose sat on the patio, watching the sunset over the Pacific. Daddy? Emma said. Yeah, sweetheart. Are we going to be okay? Marcus pulled her close. Yeah, Em, we're going to be okay. Rose smiled, sipping her tea. Your grandfather used to say something, she said. He told me that the people who save us aren't always the ones we expect. Sometimes they're strangers, sometimes they're angels in disguise. Marcus looked at her. I think he sent me one. Rose's eyes sparkled. Maybe he did. Emma yawned, leaning against her father's shoulder. I like our family. Me too, Marcus whispered. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in gold and purple, Marcus Hartwell realized something. He'd spent so long building walls to protect himself from pain, but the only thing that truly saved him was letting someone in. Sometimes the people we fear are the ones we need most, and sometimes love doesn't come from where we expect. It comes from where it's needed. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and tell me in the comments what city you're watching from.